All righty. Hi, everybody. I hope you're ready for another lesson from the Word for you today. Evidently you are, or you wouldn't be here. Makes sense, right? But today, obviously, is Friday, August the 15th. And the passage they gave us comes from Psalms chapter 77. And he uses verse 19, very interesting verse. He says, "Your path led through the sea, your way through the mighty waters, though your footprints were not seen." There, you love that part. Though your footprints, he's talking about God, though your footprints were not seen. And one author said it this way. He said that he believes the psalm written by Asaph was recounting the faithfulness of God to the Israelites. And this verse is referring to the miracle that God did as he delivered them by the crossing of the Red Sea. See, the Israelites now were looking at the miracle that God was doing for them. They'd come out of Egypt, they come to the waters, they come to the sea, and all of a sudden God paves a way for them to cross over to the other side. However, a step of obedience was still left up to them. You see, God made the path, but there still was that step of obedience that was set right before them that may have been a little bit scary. You see, God parted the entire sea. He gave them dry ground to walk on. He paved the way across the sea, but the Israelites still had to walk it. Isn't that something? You see, if you think about it, it wasn't soggy. It wasn't wet. It wasn't muddy. There were no footprints. It was solid ground for them to walk on. Yes, God could have swept the Israelites up. He could have delivered them to the other side without them walking across the sea or the waters or the dry ground, but he didn't do that. He expected them to walk the pathway that he had paved for them. I admit, when I first read Psalm 77:19, my eyes immediately went to the phrases that said, "through the sea," or "through the mighty waters," right? Those words, those are a little bit scary to us. I'm not sure that those are words that we want to go through, right? But as I looked more closely, I could see that the phrases, "your path," "your way." See, where this verse overwhelms us is when we see the chaos of the mighty waters. We see how tall the chasm of water could have been. But God says, "Hey, I chose the path for you." And so our eyes become no longer focused on the circumstances, the seas, the rushing water standing next to us. But now we look at the God who has gone before us, okay? He's the one who takes us through the depths of the waves. And God still does that for us today. God still performs miracles. He still parts waters of Red Seas in our own life. But we still have to walk the path, okay? And so we have to take steps of obedience to walk the pathway that he has provided for us. So my question were the Israelites, you think that they were fearful of the path that was laid before them, a path that had no other footprints on it? See, I don't know, but they still were willing to take the first step. See, even if we cannot see the footprints of God, we're to take the step of faith and walk when and where God tells us to. You see, there will be times in our lives when God's going to ask us to walk where there are no footprints. There's going to be times he's going to ask us maybe to start your own business. Maybe God's going to ask you to lead a Bible study or to become a greater witness in your workplace. Maybe he's going to ask you to walk through some unfamiliar circumstances, unfamiliar times and seasons of your life. Maybe he's going to ask you to become a person who brings God more into your family, something that maybe you've been putting off for quite some time. But these are all places where we see no other footprints before us, right? You know what I'm saying there? So the question is, do I have the courage? Do I have the faith? Do I have the strength to walk the pathway that God set before me? You see, just because the Israelites did not see the footprints of God, it certainly didn't mean that God had not gone on before them. He had prepared the pathway. God was already on the other side, if you think about it. But he knew where he was sending them. He knew the path that he set before them. God, like a good shepherd, always guides and leads us. According to Psalm 23, we're going to be studying that in our Bible study classes this coming Sunday, Psalm 23. But he always leads the pathway that he has paved for us to walk. Sometimes we don't see his footprints, but that doesn't mean he's not there, because I promise you, he always is. He's just giving us the opportunity to rise up and to walk in faith. So he's a good shepherd, and the good shepherd always goes before the flock. He always prepares the way. He always makes sure the path is cleared and safe for us to travel. And then he watches over us as his sheep, tender shepherds, creating a perfect path for us, knowing the path that is good, knowing the path that is safe. That's the path he's going to take us. Even though, again, we may not see his footprints there before us. The pathway is one he's already traveled. It's one where goodness and mercy will follow us all the days of our life. But we still have to walk the road. You have to walk the road. I have to walk the road for ourselves. God doesn't walk it for us. God still performs the miracle to get us on the pathway, but we still have to walk it out. So even if there are no other footprints, don't be discouraged. Even if you can't see any footprints, not even his, he's already on the road. He has his path already prepared for us. Hope you have a great day.